electronic music. Your home for the latest in trance and progressive. The latest tunes selected. The hottest tracks in a row. Straight to your music player.
Welcome to the new world.
This is A State of Trance podcast. Here's your host, Armin van Buuren.
One of the most popular tracks of last week's show and featured on my new mix CD, A State of Trance 2012. That was the first track of this week's A State of Trance podcast by Omnia with IRA-The Fusion. Thank you for downloading the podcast. This week, new music by Beat Service, John O'Callaghan, and a great classic by Relocate. But first, a new track by the Maltese duo Tenishia, which is also featured on A State of Trance 2012. Here is Always Loved, Never Forgotten.
update straight to your music player. This is a State of Trance podcast.
podcasting for A State of Trance. Last week we had Markus Schulz on the show talking about his new mix CD LA-12. Welcome to the show, Markus. What made you pick Los Angeles to name your compilation after?
Hey, what's up, Armin? Yeah, every year I do a compilation and I dedicate it to a city that's been inspirational to me during that year. And this year, Los Angeles, I think the reason why I picked Los Angeles was because dance music has just blown up so huge here in the United States. And I think Los Angeles is like at the center of all that. All of the gigs that I've played in Los Angeles have been really inspirational. You know, that's one of the places where I get to play my long extended sets where I can really take people around on a journey. And this compilation, I tried to do that as well. Start off a little progressive, get into some peak hour mayhem, and then of course take them down the rabbit hole afterwards.
You've created a great roster of artists on Coldharbour like Mr. Pitt, Coma and Beat Service. What does it take to become a Coldharbour artist?
Oh, well, thank you. I think what's great about these artists is that they really work with me as far as trying to put together tunes that really work in my DJ sets. I think everybody knows by now that Coma and Mr. Pitt and Beat Service, those, they make tracks that I play all year round, and they're absolute monsters and staples in my DJ sets. So I think that's the thing that I look for the most is working with artists on the Coldharbour label that really kind of have the same vision as me. There's other great artists as well that I think are really popping up now, like Basil O'Glue and Danilo Ercoli. Those guys are really starting to get their footing underneath them as well. So yeah, the future looks really bright for the Coldharbour label with artists like that I'm very lucky and fortunate to collaborate with.
Which track is your favorite track of the compilation, Markus?
Favorite track on the compilation? Oh wow, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I absolutely love the Omnia track called The Fusion. Of course, the Rex Mundi tracks are really, really huge, as is the Coma tracks, Mind Gamer and Artemis. But I think one of my favorite tracks on the album is the Beat Service track Fortuna.
You just heard one of the tracks featured on the compilation by Markus Schulz, Fortuna by Beat Service. Up next, my new track, Gaia-J'ai Envie de toi.
Your weekly trance update, straight to your music player. This is a State of Trance podcast.
Forthcoming on The Unfold, the remixes. Smokescreen by John O'Callaghan and a great remix by Sneijder. It's out now on Subculture Recordings. Thank you for your emails. Shouting out to Ariel Portillo from Paraguay and Johan Idris. Dennis Volkov wrote me from the Indian Ocean, where he's a sailor. And he told me that he couldn't send his best friend Farid Jambayev from Riga, Latvia, a gift accept. So a shout out from me on the podcast. Here you go, Farid. Happy birthday. Friedel from Afghanistan shouts out to all the comrades of ISAF. Keep them coming. I'd love to hear from you. Armin at astateoftrance.com. This week's classic is one of the most played songs ever on A State of Trance. Great classic by Paul Moulans, aka Relocate. Here is Rogue.
Taking you back in time into the history of trance. This is A State of Trance Radio Classic.
That's it for this week. For more A State of Trance podcasts, surf to arminradio.com or visit astateoftrance.com. Speak to you next week for a brand new podcast.
Thank you for tuning in. For more info about this podcast, go to astateoftrance.com. Tune in next week for more A State of Trance.
For more info, check www.armadamusic.com.